When my mom's longtime friend Rachel knocked on our front door that rainy afternoon, I didn't know how much her visit would change the course of my life. I was 25 at the time, fresh out of grad school, and temporarily staying at my mom's place in Springfield, Oregon, while I job hunted and figured out my next move. The sky had been gray all morning, and I was curled up on the couch with a bowl of cereal when I heard the doorbell ring. My mom wasn't home. She'd left for a weekend wellness retreat upstate. So I opened the door, and there stood Rachel, her eyes red, her umbrella dripping onto the porch, and her suitcases framing her like parentheses. "Hi, Jake," she said softly. "Is your mom home?" "No," I replied, a little surprised to see her. "She went out of town." "Come in though, you look like you've been through something." She hesitated, then stepped inside. Her eyes darted around like she was searching for something familiar, something stable. I hadn't seen her in nearly a year. Rachel was one of those women you remembered, tall, graceful, with sharp features softened by kind eyes. She used to visit a lot more when I was a teenager, especially for wine nights with Mom. She'd bring baked goods and talk about her travels. I'd had a bit of a crush on her then, not that I ever admitted it. "Thanks," she whispered as I took her coat and umbrella. I just left Dan. Officially. The divorce papers were signed this morning. I couldn't go back to the house. I didn't know where else to go. I guided her to the living room and got her a warm towel and a cup of tea. As she sat, she wrapped herself tightly in the towel like it was the only armor she had left. Her voice trembled as she explained that her now ex-husband had been emotionally distant for years. What finally broke her was when she found out he'd quietly rented an apartment in Portland months ago and had been staying there several nights a week. She said my mom had always told her, "If you ever need a place, I've got a couch for you," and she hoped the invitation still stood. I assured her it did. That night, I helped Rachel settle into the guest room. She insisted she didn't want to burden me, but I told her it was no trouble. It was quiet for a while, the kind of silence that settles in after a storm. I gave her space, but I couldn't help noticing the way she seemed both broken and strong at once. Over the next few days, Rachel stayed. She didn't have anywhere else to go, and I didn't mind the company. We ended up spending a lot of time together. In the mornings, we'd make breakfast, scrambled eggs and toast or pancakes if she was feeling ambitious. She liked to dance a little in the kitchen, even if there was no music, her bare feet sliding on the tile. I found myself smiling more around her. One morning, about a week after she arrived, I woke up to the smell of cinnamon rolls. I stumbled into the kitchen and saw her wearing one of my mom's aprons, her hair in a loose bun, her face lit with rare contentment. "I figured I owed you something nice," she said, handing me a steaming plate. "You've been kinder than I deserve." "You don't owe me anything," I told her. "Seriously, I'm just glad you're okay." She looked at me then, really looked. There was a silence between us that buzzed with unspoken energy. I couldn't tell if it was my imagination or if she felt it too, but I looked away quickly and changed the subject. Later that day, we went out to a nearby lake trail. The sun was finally out, and the Oregon landscape looked almost painted. As we walked, Rachel opened up more about her past, her failed dreams of writing, how she'd given up on herself during the marriage. I listened closely, asking questions here and there, trying not to show how deeply her story moved me. When we reached the water's edge, she stopped and stared into the lake. "I feel like I'm 20 again, lost and unsure of what I'm supposed to do next," she said. "I think everyone feels that way, even at 25, I said, half joking. She laughed quietly. "You're wise for your age." "I don't know about that. I just listen." Her eyes met mine again, softer this time. There was something blooming in that gaze, something I didn't know what to do with. I looked away again, afraid to read too much into it. The turning point came a few nights later. We were watching an old movie, Casablanca, I think, and halfway through, the power went out. The storm outside had worsened, and the wind howled like a warning. Rachel and I sat in the dim glow of some emergency candles I had lit, bundled up in blankets. It was cozy. Too cozy. She shifted beside me, her shoulder brushing against mine. Neither of us moved. Her voice came out in a whisper. "Do you ever feel like the universe keeps pushing you toward something you're not sure you should want?" I turned to her slowly. Sometimes. What do you do when that happens? I guess. I stop fighting it. There was a pause, a long, electric pause. Then she leaned in and kissed me. It was soft and unsure, like she was afraid I'd pull away. But I didn't. I kissed her back. When we pulled away, she looked a little frightened by what she'd done. Jake, I'm sorry. That was. I stopped her. Don't be. I don't know what this is, she admitted. I don't want to mess up your life. I've felt so invisible for so long. You're not invisible to me, I said. Things shifted after that. We didn't jump into anything physical right away. Instead, we talked more than ever before. We opened up about everything: fears, regrets, dreams. We cooked meals together, went on long drives through winding backroads, and even started volunteering at a local animal shelter one afternoon a week. Rachel smiled more. She wore brighter colors. She started writing again, short stories, mostly. One afternoon, she read one aloud to me. It was about a woman who leaves everything behind and finds herself again through unexpected friendship. She didn't say it was about her, but I knew. I was cautious, though. I knew there was a gap in our ages, in our life experiences. We talked about that too. Rachel was the one who brought it up one evening as we sat on the porch with mugs of tea. I know I'm older, Jake. I know people would talk if they knew. So let them talk, I said. It's not about them. It's about us. She looked down at her hands. And what is this, exactly? I thought about it for a long second. It's real. That's all I know. By the time my mom came back from her retreat, things between Rachel and me had quietly solidified. We hadn't told anyone yet. I was nervous. But my mom, being who she is, took one look at us sitting side by side on the back deck and raised an eyebrow. Okay, she said slowly. Is there something you two want to tell me? Rachel stiffened, but I took her hand and nodded. Yeah, there is. To my surprise, my mom didn't freak out. She was shocked, of course, but after the initial awkwardness wore off, she pulled Rachel into a hug and then looked at me. If this is real, then I support it. Just take care of each other. And we did. Months passed. Rachel got her own apartment in town, and I found a job at a local publishing firm. We didn't rush into anything. We kept it quiet, mostly, focusing on learning who we were outside of what other people expected from us. But the bond between us grew stronger. She was there the day I signed the lease on my first place. I was there when she published her first story in an online magazine. We had arguments, of course, mostly about the future,